then allows third providers to hook into Zoom, which allows them to set up and redirecting to another server. That's why it takes time to do that. Okay. So I welcome everybody. Today is April 20th, and we have a couple of days together. On the 22nd, Andrea, we have what?
On the 22nd, we have the final exam. Well, like the last exam.
The last exam, which is nice, right? So in that way, we have the second exam that I want everybody to come 10 minutes early. And then on the Monday, the 27th, Andrea, we have a presentation that I'll go over. And what I'm going to require you to do is come the same time as you came on Wednesday. So we have, how many groups do we have, Anastasia, in this class?
We have 10 groups.
10 groups. So I want, Andrea, I want to go through all groups, 10 groups. It's going to be tight. So we're going to start at exactly the amount of time. Notice we're already 10 minutes into, when we're going to have to start. Everybody, and I can see it, everybody's coming in, walking and so forth. So that is it. Who's group number 1? Who's in that team, Anastasia?
I believe it's Julia, Jack, and 1 second, I'm pulling it up now.
Thank you so much.
Group 1 is Julia, Drew, and Jack.
Okay, and who's group 2?
Group 2 is Julie, Lindsay, Holly, and Andrea.
Okay. So once we think about it, I'll make an introduction and then we'll move on to group 1, group 2, group 3. And I'll go into formalities, but everyone will have 5 minutes to present in class. Then after class, we'll discuss it. You'll do a formal recording where you'll have more time to do it. But in class, you'll have 5 minutes to present. And the purpose for that is to give, for me and Anastasia, to give you feedback. I expect your project to be done, but what I liked always as a student to get that final feedback that if there needs to be corrections, Andrea, that it can be, you can fix it, right? And little things, and supposedly, I imagine there'll be little things, and I'll go into detail about that. So we just have 2 sessions together. Also, what I want to do, so my goal today is to talk about your project, how it should be presented next Monday, how it should be uploaded following that. You'll have a peer review as well. I'll talk about that. And Anastasia will help me do a Kahoot, all right, for a review, and then I'll answer any questions people have about the subject area. Okay, any questions before I start sharing my screen? How are we doing? Okay, it's all right. So Noam, how are we doing? Do you have any question, Noam, before we begin?
Actually, I did have one question. Is the presentation online? Like you said, it's in class, but it's online, right?
It's like this. I'll talk about it.
All
Andy.
right. Perfect. Thanks.
Right. The exam, though, is in person. But the beauty here is we can do it online. Okay, great. Great question. And continue asking me. Okay, so let me share my screen. And let me minimize this and let me. So do you see my screen? No.
Yeah,
What do you see?
the Zoom being live streamed.
The live stream. Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody is seeing this. And I'm going to Right. Okay. So you see, so I'm going to just go to what's new. What's this anyways? What's under announcement? Okay. So we know exam April 22nd. We know that it's in person, Stubblefield. I've given you a review guide right here. We've gone over that already. And of course, it's going to be the same format, so it's not a big deal for anybody to understand or feel stressful. What's the exam going to be like? You need to bring a picture ID, a cane card or government ID. You need to bring your laptop. You need to bring updated version in your laptop, an updated version of Respondus in case one of the computers do not work. We expect, just like the last time, everybody should be using one of the in-lab computers. I'm asking you to arrive 10 minutes early. The exam will be starting promptly at 5:05. This way you have a maximum amount of time to do the exam. The exam ends at 6:20. Unless you have an improved extra time. And if you do, even those with accommodations will be with me in the lab. Just let me know if you have approved accommodations, and you will get your extra time if need be. A lot of people didn't need it, but we will accommodate everyone. Okay, this is that part. The second part is, and that's why I want to go over it today in detail with you, because I don't want to take Wednesday, your time to do the exam, to go over these details with you. And I think it's important to know what is due for the rest of the semester. You will be presenting online. You will be coming before at 5 o'clock, so we can start right at 5:05. We will be going by groups, and what you will do is I call it final project in-class presentation to the professor. Since we have 10 groups, I'm giving everybody 5 minutes to present. I will give 2 minutes of feedback, and then we will go on to the next group. So as a group, you need to be prepared. And that's why you need to be prepared that we're not waiting 5 minutes for you. Let me find my PowerPoints. Let me find my website. You should have this well in advance prepared for you. Each group will be sharing their own screen. And in this case, in the audit assignment instructions, this is the final project in class presentation. All team members must be at the presentation. Attendance is required, and you need to prepare for a 5-minute presentation with 2 minutes feedback. How I would do that is I would appoint one person in your group to go over the major parts of your presentation, and you will have in your slides, you will have a last slide which will have each person's contributions or each person's tasks that they did for the project. In the project, there has been variability about spreading out the work. So at that last slide will be an honest contribution slide. The goals of your slide is you want to have a slideshow, plus you want to show me your website. You want to share on the website your AI caller, or what I call your AI or your voice AI agent number works. It's posted. I said a good thing is to post it on the top and on the bottom. You want to post that numbers, and then you want to be able to call that number in the presentation. You want to be able to ask that AI caller, for instance, who is on your team? What is the mission of your company? And it should be able to answer that. You want to ensure that the website looks good on mobile. You want to create a presentation where you'll have your company name. Your presentation slides should look like a deck that you're purporting to present to investors. It should not look like a project by BTE210. I don't want to see anywhere in the slides that it says project BTE210, but rather I'd like to see, who are the team members? Who's your audience? What is your mission statement? Who are the team members? What were the services you have, the apps? And in this case, I want to be able to see your podcast, your slides, and make sure your last contribution is your last slide. You're going to present this to me for feedback. And if I look at this, for instance, a good way to look at this is to go to the audit area. Everybody, you can go to the audit area. Let me see if this audit area works. All of a sudden, I don't know why this doesn't work. Let me see if this will work. Okay, I'm going to go courses, and I want to go to J audit. And go to assignment groups. And under assignment groups, right, everybody should have your URL at the end of your group 0. And you should have right on the top, you should have a final project. And under the final project, you see here, there is an example of what someone in my, let's see, why is this not working? I don't know why. It is an example of a slideshow. So notice here, ready to launch your career, elevate you. This is by, instead of by, maybe it could be team members or something. And I would even have, in the front, I would even have a URL that you can click on your URL and see your URL. This slide deck will be used for your final slide deck that you're presenting to your investors, but it will all be used for me as well. So you'll go quickly through this slide and spend most of the time, and here you see meet the team, here is your mission statement, these are the social media. You should quickly go through what social media you used, how you posted your accounts, the types of services, and you should have then a way in which, after you go quickly through the slides, then I want you to show your website and make sure that all your links will be working, and I'll be interacting with you on that. You'll talk about the AI tools you talk about, your SEO dashboard, your VAPI dashboard you want to show. And this is that last slide in which how everyone contributed. Actual tasks that you did. Not made up fantasies or whatever, but the actual tasks that you did for it, how everyone contributed. And then you'll then show your website. That'll be 5 minutes, the whole thing. And then I'll do 2 minutes of feedback. I may even intersperse my feedback. And if I've seen your website, I may ask, show me things that I haven't seen before. And this is what you'll do at this time. So these are the ideas that you have. Let me just go through my courses here. So if I go back to this course and go to, oh, this is not the one I want. I have to go to, I'm going to go to my J. And in my J, notice under my audit assignment, you can see that I have my audit assignment there. In my what's due, you can see that the final project in class. You know, it's interesting. I have a bug in my system. I don't know what happened. I think my Anastasia, are you here? Somehow I think I'm going to have to log out and log back in. So are you your co-host, right? Anastasia?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah.
are you set as co-host?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so let me do this. I'm going to come back in so you should be able, when I come in, I think my screen got frozen and I'm not able to stop sharing. So if I go out, just wait for me. I'm just going to come back in. Okay, and then you can answer questions about what the presentation should be like in for our sessions. Any questions before I jump back out? Noam, are there any questions?
Nope, no questions.
Okay, so let me jump back in, Anastasia, and we'll see how this works, okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So let me just see here if I can stop. I think now I'm okay. Okay, stopped sharing. Okay. So so this is what I want. So I want on Wednesday, after you finish your exam, you can there'll be Anastasia, myself, and there'll be another TA, probably Lily. You can ask myself or one of the TAs if you'd like to look at your work. My goal is on Monday, you give your presentation to me, a short period of time. I give you feedback. And then based on my feedback, you can make changes to your project. Then what I want you to do is after the 27th, before May 1st, which will be your deadline to upload your final project, as you'll meet with your group, you'll make any corrections or add anything that you want. You'll document what you've changed since the last time I saw it. And then you'll do a 10-minute formal presentation with everyone in your group. At that point, you will be giving your presentation with Zoom. And of course, it will be no password like you did before. Plus, it will be with live stream. And you will give your presentation as if you're giving it to a group of investors that they know nothing about your company. You will go over it, and each team member will have a part in your presentation. You'll give your presentation what I would like to see formally. It won't be on your bed. You know how sometimes people don't feel so well. We're kind of like half done. but well as a professional presentation, 10 minutes. And you may want to rehearse that beforehand, make sure that you know what you're going to be presenting, share your screen as much as possible, have your cameras on. That's a requirement. And then you will upload that along with your AI companion, just as along with it. And you will upload that before May 1st. Also before May 1st, and I will have it posted, you will do a peer review where it will be confidential, where you will state what you have done for the project and how well you've done how your overall project fares, how you would evaluate your overall project, your contributions to the project. And you will also, each person will evaluate everyone in the group. You will submit that to me, not in the audit area, but you will submit that to me as an assignment where just myself and your TA will see that. And that will be considered also part of your grade. And this will be done by May 1st. So that way on the 27th, you finish presenting, you have that week to make the final touches plus do your recordings. Any questions that you have about what is due and how it should be done? Okay. So Andrea, do you have any questions is that clear?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I don't think I have any questions right now.
Perfect. And if you do, you can ask me even after class on Wednesday to clarify. So what it will be, how will it be on Monday? You remember we talked about Spotlight? Andrea, you remember Spotlight was in Zoom, that you can spotlight certain groups and they will just be spotlighted rather than this whole class that you see. Our TA will spotlight the group starting with group 1. What group are you, Andrea?
I'm group 2, so I'll go right after.
So you go right after that. So you need to be prepared who's going to be doing the most of this presentation. But your final slide, everyone will talk about quickly. Everyone will talk about what they've done for the project. So otherwise, it's just having, and formally everybody will talk hopefully equally on your presentation. But for the presentation for me, since I want to give everybody feedback, have enough time to give everyone feedback, it'll be short. I think sometimes just easier have one person present, and basically what I'll be looking at is giving you feedback and you showcase what you have, and you're going to showcase it, making sure that all your links are doing it. So for your podcast, you'll play your podcast short. We don't need to hear the whole 5 minutes, but make sure it works. For your phone number, you'll be dialing the phone number, putting it on speakerphone that you know that it's working, and your social media, you'll be showing your social media, you'll be showing your apps, making sure all those apps work. Quick, so I can give you an overall direction saying, Andrea, hey, your group looks great. Just go for it and just make the formal presentation versus these are a couple of things that are missing. Okay, and then you'll be, your presentation will be part of your overall project presentation. So you want to do the best you can for your presentation, number one, Andrea, so you don't have to do a lot of work after Monday, and plus that you get even practice on it, and you can just say, hey, let's take it from here. Okay, and then you'll also do, after your work, you'll also evaluate yourself plus each group member. Okay, and then that will be submitted to take into consideration. And sometimes I don't take it in consideration where everybody says, oh, we're 100, you know, everybody's 100, everybody did great, everybody, you know, where it's exaggerated so much that you don't even take it seriously, that there was any, I'm expecting basically some way of reflection of how it's done, right? And maybe also saying what was missing, how could you have improved it, right? How did the team work together, things like that. How could you have maybe made improvements in the future? Because you know how we're speaking is everything can get improved all the time. Okay? So that's it. Any other points? No, okay, everything's clear that this is online, this is your presentation and everything. The only thing that is not online, Noam, is what?
The exam.
The exam, right? We got it, and everybody come early, and next Monday, everybody's required to come early and on time. Because we're gonna go one right after the other, and you need to be prepared. And the problem is that will affect your grade too. If you're saying, oh, I'm not sure who to report, our links are not working, make sure in your slides you've tested that out and your links are working, that automatically we can go to your website and see your website, and we can go back and forth into your slides as well. You decide how you want to present it, but you know that Andrea, I will be actively involved in giving you feedback. I may not even wait till the end of the 5 minutes. It may be easier for me to say, let's fix it right here. This mission statement has to be more well-defined, or there's not a lot of, I can't understand what this video is about, something like that. Okay, we're ready? Perfect. So the exam is Wednesday, so let's do a Kahoot. Anastasia, I'll have you share your screen.
Yes, 1 second. It's loading now. The second it loads, I'm gonna share.
Yeah, and then we can do that. And we know that we'll go over this, and what we'll do is we'll use this for attendance. So when you sign into Kahoot, make sure you put in your first name, your last name. Usually kind of, you knew Kahoot for parties or something, you put in, your first name, put in your first name, your last name, and we can get started. And we'll use this for attendance as well. And then afterwards, if people would like it, we can post the link to Kahoot as well. But I think we can go through it. So you ready, Anastasia?
Yes, starting it now. There we go. I'm gonna share my screen. Link.
Please. Okay. Okay, so here's the joining. So everybody put in their, we're waiting for you to apply. And put in first name and last name, not Nico and Noam, but rather first name and last name. So we have 32 participants, so we'll give a minute for everybody to sign in. First name, last name. So how many do we have signed in already, Anastasia?
We have 29 currently.
Okay, so 29, so we are down for 3. We'll wait for a half a minute, and we say that if you haven't signed in, you don't get attendance. Okay, so this is part of your attendance here. So tell me.
We're at 31 right now.
Okay, so we'll do another 20 seconds. Does anybody need any more time? You can unmic yourself. Otherwise, Anastasia will be doing. How many do we have, Anastasia?
31.
31. Okay. So I guess two people didn't want to.
We have 32 now.
32. Okay. So we have 32. If we don't have, we'll do a countdown of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's start the Kahoot. And it's a review for exam 2, 3, 2, 1. And the quiz. Okay, so the first question is machine learning systems often use what to learn from data? The key here, I think, is learning. Remember, we said that it learns versus other systems is a part of learning from the data. So if this is the answer, right? So I know that this is interesting, that the majority said expert systems, but it's neural networks. So let me tell you what the difference is. It's a great question in this case. An expert system is trying to get knowledge from a human being, an expert, and put it into a knowledge base. It's not going, that expert system is not going to improve and learn. It will just get my knowledge in if then rules, put it into the system. So I may have it in a way that I have a knowledge expert systems on offshore tax systems. A neural net tries to imitate your brain where you have neurons and it keeps on learning. And what you have is you have variables for prediction, and each of the variables take on weights. What you do is, since you know the system and how well it will predict, it will make errors, and then under supervised or unsupervised learning, you will have the neural nets change its weights. You may be putting on, for instance, for admissions, you may be putting on certain weights for where some students live, and you say, you know what, we're going to put less weight on that and more on their GPA or their curricular activities. So that's why neural nets often used to learn from data versus expert systems. Basically, you put it in once. Okay, let's go to the next one. So it's good that people saw it. Okay, number 2, which of the following is a characteristic of AI from the book, from the textbook? So one of the things you want to think about is which of the following is a characteristic of AI, and think about it from the readings from the book. So in the readings from the book, though I say that partly it gets shrunken because AI is improving all the time. So basically, in this case, low creativity, because this is what kind of the book was stating, that humans have more creativity than the others. Erratic and inconsistent total cost of knowledge. Sometimes when you think about it, maybe people were thinking about it as hallucination, but once the data is in, it's not so much that in this case, that characteristic, it's erratic, but maybe more hallucinatory. So the best answer is low creativity, though I agree it's shrinking. So you can see why it was in the kind of meeting, the blue and the gold were at both parts. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, with some kind of model, we're talking about cloud computing, providers offer remotely accessible servers, networks, and storage capacity. So this stands for infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So you need to think about it. The keywords here are servers, networks, and storage capacity. So that's going to be infrastructure as a service, not software as a service, because a server is hardware. That's not software. Networks are the communications. It's an infrastructure. The storage is infrastructure. Software as a service could be Zoom. Zoom is a software as a service. Gmail is a software as a service. Instagram is software as a service. But when I talk about infrastructure, instead of buying additional hardware, I can use then that computing model of infrastructure of a server to what? Rent those types of facilities, those hardware. Everybody understand? I'm open for questions if you want to open your mic. Next, go to the next one. Okay, number 4. This is a byte is the smallest unit of a data a computer can process. So this is true and false. And this comes from the data hierarchy. You remember the data hierarchy? We started basically on the smallest unit and then went up to a character and then went up to a field and a record. So in this case, it's false because what? A bit is the smallest unit of data a computer can process. Okay, next. Number 5. Analytics examine recent and historical data to detect patterns, and here's the key, and predict, that's the underlining word that I would emphasize, future outcomes and trends. So what kind of analytics will predict future outcomes and trends based on recent and historical data? And in that case, that key here would be predictive. Very good. So let's go to next. I don't have to bother with it. Okay, data means all applications are able to access the same data, which is by databases. So here it's basically the difference between isolation and independence and minimize and maximize. So I want to be able to access the same data from different parts. So in this is the case, I want independence, means all applications are able to access the same data. So I don't basically isolate the data. And what I want is, in this case, which is maximized by the databases. Okay, next. Okay, big data primarily deals with what kind of data? Is it big data? Could it be semi-structured? Could it be unstructured? Unstructured could be like videos. Structured, it could be like like the stock market, right? Where it gives me basically my opening, my closing, or all of the above. And it's all the above because it can use big data, can be from unstructured to semi-structured to very structured, like my grade book. Okay. Next. Cyber criminals. So we think about cyber and what are the characteristics of cyber. I think this is an easy one. What I would do when I would be taking those tests is eliminating what is basically just a distractor, right? Our violent criminals don't make that much money. They do it for fun. But rather, in this case, target known software with security weaknesses. A cyber criminal thinks, where can I get in the door to do damage or to do to gain some access? Okay, next. Okay, phishing. We're not talking, okay, and you know about as an example of, and basically phishing then as an example, I would eliminate those that weren't possible. And a lot of times they use that phishing in examples on emails. The university always is saying there's a new phishing scam. And basically it's a software attack. They do it via software, for those phishing attacks. Okay, majority got that, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, next. What is the possibility that a system will be harmed by a threat? What is the possibility? So right there, you see here, harmed by a threat. So I would take out that threat right there. Right? And it's the possibility that the system will be harmed by a threat. So I would take that out already. So I have, is it security is the possibility or exposure? So I know it's a vulnerability. Vulnerability is, that's the possibility that I know it can be harmed by a threat. Okay, next. Okay, cloud computing, which means a customer can access needed computing resources automatically. So I know already it's dealing with a customer. What among these is what's unique about a customer with cloud computing? If I'm doing cloud computing, what is it? What's so unique about it? Right? You're going to need to know what's unique of those characteristics. And I know it provides on-demand self-service for whom? The customer. That if I want large amounts of data processed, if I want to have more RAM, if I want to have more storage later on, I want to have less, I can basically ask that on my own and I can continue. Okay, so provides on demand. Next. SaaS, which stands for software as a service, is what type of computing? So we can think about software as a service. I can eliminate already mainframe, right? And basically software as a service, does it have any utilitarian type of advantage here? And I can know that it's utility. So I can think about it as software as a service is a type of utility computing that I can use via the internet. Next. Okay. Something is not a benefit of virtualization, so we need to know what virtualization is. Virtualization is basically I can take any type of a hardware and operating system and basically try to create another computer within one computer that's physical, and I can create that. So in this case, redundancy is not a benefit of virtualization because in this case, it's not going to be repetitive. Next. My scoreboard is public clouds. Public clouds are things that we use all the time. The whole idea of public clouds versus other types of clouds is how do I access? How do I access Gmail? How do I access Zoom? How do I access Instagram? How do I access TikTok? These are all based on public clouds, and I access it through the internet. Remember, we talked about it. Next. Infrastructure service, platform as a service, and software as a service shift IT from what kind of expense, which means IT is. So basically, they all talk about capital, and am I dealing with what? Which means that IT, then we need to know the difference then, that the capital to an operating variable rather than fixed. What does variable mean? That variable then based on how much I use will vary in time. So if I had to buy hardware, right, Noam? If I said we're going to start a company and let's buy 20 machines, right? That's going to be fixed costs. But if I say, I don't, in the beginning, I don't know how many machines. Let's start off with 2. Then we'll go to 3. Then we'll go to 10. Then we'll go down to 4. That's going to be variable, right? Rather than I don't have that fixed cost ahead. So capital to an operating, right, expense and variable rather than fixed. Next. Which of the following is a characteristic of natural intelligence? And in this case, natural intelligence is via your readings. So all of these questions is via your readings from either Wiley Plus or from the Wiley Plus book or from the quizzes here is which is the following then will be made, and difficult and expensive to duplicate and disseminate knowledge. That if you had to take my knowledge, right, it's going to be difficult because how do you know what I know, right? I can't even describe everything that I know. So this is going to be difficult, that characteristic. That's why they like a lot of times those expert systems and AI that it's going to be easy to distribute. Next. Okay, expert systems replace human experts by applying expertise in what? So here it's either can or cannot. And is it an expert system? We talk about it. Is it a specific domain or a general domain? We talked about the idea of an expert system is it's going to be more narrow, right? So that expert system then can replace human experts by applying expertise in a specific area because it's very small and narrow. So you could possibly replace or add on to that. Okay, next. An expert systems is composed of facts and rules. So basically, where do we store the knowledge of an expert system? Because, right, we're taking it from the expert and we want to give it from the human, we want to give it into an expert system. So it's the knowledge base. Perfect. That's how we are going to compose it. Next. Okay, neural networks. Remember we talked about neural networks is usually involve what? Small or a large number of processors in real time or parallel. So neural networks usually involve then, we can probably think of it, you think it's a larger number of processors operating then, in this case, it's going to be a large number. And what does it mean in parallel? What can I do? What does parallel mean? That I can use those GPUs basically to work together to solve one problem. Sometimes there's something called clustering where I can do parallel processing. And you remember we talked about GPUs and CPUs, and we talked about AI. AI needs those parallel processes. Basically, part of it parallel processes one and part of the task in another, so it can make it quicker and using then less resources. So it's large and parallel. Very good. Next, 20. Intelligent agents often use what behind the scenes? And basically, intelligent agents then use two things, either what we call fuzzy logic, which means it's not exact, it's more general terms like fuzzy, like basically he's tall. I can think about somebody tall, 5'6", you can think about somebody tall, 6'3". So basic intelligent agents often use expert systems and what we call fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic is basically a continuum. Like I'm looking for somebody smart. Well, what does it mean smart? You know, I'm looking for somebody tall. What does it mean? It's fuzzy, but it can then do it. It's like a lot of systems then, dryers use your drying where you say, I want to dry versus I'm going to use 45 minutes. Until it's dry, it's a fuzzy logic. Next. Okay, are often populated with data from source data automation technologies such as barcode scanners. this basically are what kind of systems that basically I can spread. You remember, like CVS, I said, is basically like a bar scanner, CVS, and what is it? Transaction processing systems. So TPS is those transactions, they process the system, and I just can swipe just like a barcode scanner. Next. Okay, which of the following is not a requirement of transaction processing systems? And that not there basically have efficiently large handle variations, must ensure overlapping data, must record results accurately and securely. That's definitely, you don't want to not to do that. So in this case, must maximize downtime. Okay, so the best answer. Next. 23, reports are produced at scheduled intervals. So if I have scheduled intervals, it's going to be my everyday way of doing something, right? I'm going to have reports about my payroll, right? Once a month. Every month I'm going to be doing it each time. So in this case, it's easy. It's routine, right? Ad hoc means what? Off the beaten path. Ad hoc is all of a sudden ad hoc. I didn't follow the procedures. I just did it basically whimsical, or I did it unusual. Basically the opposite of routine. Okay, next. Exception reports, right? I could ask for exception reports, something that's not in the mean. Usually exception reports, something at the ends of my tail. I want to get all those that got, let's say, less than 30 on the exam, all those that got more than, let's say, 98 on the exam. Those are my exceptions, right? So in this case, includes only information that falls outside certain threshold standards. Okay. ERP. ERP is what? ERP is enterprise resource planning, and information silos mean I keep the data just for a certain department and don't share it for the entire what enterprise. So ERP needs to address that problem, because then I can't share some data that may be interesting to all. So in this case, integrating functional areas. I don't want to, in this case, this is what it addresses, that it's going to integrate, for instance, finance with human resources, with accounting. Next. Okay. Business analytics answers what question? So remember we talked about what question. So in business analytics, what do I want that can happen? So for business analytics, we need to basically, remember we talked about the past, and the future, and we want to talk about what's the best or worst that can happen. I want to be able to expect that, not to be surprised. Next, to make what? Better decisions. Number 27, data mining helps explain how it happened, what happened, why it happened, or when. So data mining then looks at my data, and it, just like in data, it's trying to find insights. Data mining is trying to find patterns. Data mining is trying to find why it happened. The why. Multidimensional analysis. Multidimensional analysis is not my standard spreadsheet of just two variables, but in a way in which I can drill down and get more information, or I can drill up and I can see the big picture, or I can see the details of a certain product. And that's called online analytical processing. Sometimes they call it OLAP. In spreadsheets, a lot of times it's called pivot tables. In the past, business intelligence, or BI, was used to support. That was a brand new technology that came out before AI, and basically, again, was trying to get more intelligence into the workplace, and we wanted, and who made those decisions were usually top managers. So top managers made those decisions, and more than even corporate boards in the beginning, because top managers had to make the decisions. The corporate boards were the ones overseeing the decisions that top managers did and responded. So that's why top managers is different, and this is what it was used to support. Then it became more broad, and then all groups then used it. Okay, next. And is that the last one? 30. Okay. So KPI is then our key performance indicator. And this is the knot. This is the knot where I have the operational costs, my return on investment, and my overhead. And then they're giving me the choice of product quality as well. And I know that key performance, the performance and how we perform, really can measure my operational costs, my return on investment, my overhead. Key performance indicators cannot tell me what's the product quality. I need to use something else other than a key performance indicator. So rather than the product quality. So this is very numerical, the operational cost, the return on investment, and overhead. And then next, I'm waiting in anticipation. Anastasia, number 3. Number 2 is Sully. And number 1, we're waiting. Why is Ella Turk? Congratulations. See me after the test for awards. And congratulations. Okay. That help? Yes, no? Thumbs up. Thank you, Anastasia, for letting us see that. I think it's helpful. And then we'll post the link if people want to review that. Anything else we want? Anastasia, anything else?
Yes, a really quick disclaimer to everyone for attendance. I believe all of you are going to get an email saying that you were marked absent.
Why don't we do this, Anastasia? Why don't we take attendance?
Okay, because that will make it easier.
Yeah,
Last
make
time
it
I was
easier
able
so
do
you
it
don't
that.
have to do it manually.
Yeah. All right. One second.
How many want Anastasia spend time sending out emails and putting it in? I don't, right? That's the whole idea, right? I don't. And so Anastasia, just put in the code and we'll just do it. I think it'll be easier for everybody. We'll count everybody that was able to stay with us, right? So you put in the code, Anastasia. So everybody put in the code. They don't have to have emails coming back and forth. Make it easier for Anastasia and for you. And for you, it doesn't take that much more effort, right?
Thank you,
Putting
Professor.
in the code. We want to keep people, you know what I mean, doing important things, not just busy work. Sending you emails and you have to put them in and blah, blah, blah. It'd be nice if they were connected, right? But they're not. Kahoot and Blackboard.
Dr. Rush,
Yes.
is the test cumulative? Like it's kind of cumulative, right? It's like some questions from
Well,
all one.
it's covering what it's covering new. It says on the study guide, you'll see on the study guide, you see which chapters it covers.
Yeah, a lot of it's from like the last
Yeah,
test as
a
well,
lot
though.
of it is 4 and 5. So what it does cover is 4 and 5, which are the database,